Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the Christina Nelson Show, where we motivate, inspire, and heal, find healing. Amen. So we are here tonight, and we are going to have a absolutely wonderful time having a conversation with these two beautiful women that are about to come up any minute now. First, I want to thank everyone for joining us, and I see you. Shout out to all who are looking and watching, and thank you for when you watch the replay. Hey, when you're watching the replay, put replay so I know that you are watching the replay. Amen. And everybody, shout out to everybody: Sheila and Tanya and Marla. I have Chandra and Sandra. My husband, I know, is on. Sister Vanessa is on here. Here we got on Facebook. Who we got on Facebook? Brianka, Manuel is on, and Marietta is on. Hello, everybody. God bless you. Thank you for joining the Christina Nelson Show. Listen, I remember when I was 19 years old, I got pregnant when my first son, my first child, and I remember being a single woman, and I remember also being in the church and everything, and being looked at as kind of side eyed, like, "What are you doing? You are in the church, and how did this happen?" Right. And then I remember getting pregnant a second time, and people still looking like, "Hey, how did this happen?" Things do happen, stuff happens like this, and we're going to talk about all that kind of stuff tonight on a mother and daughter duo here, Prophet Charlene Browning and Charlena Maria Marie Wilson. They're going to come up and they're going to talk about their testimony of, her being a single mom and how God can turn everything around and use it for his glory, that your circumstances just don't matter to him. He is a God of forgiveness and faithfulness, and he will use everything the devil tried to make bad and use it for his good, for his glory. All right. All right, everybody. So let's go here. Let's go and bring up these young women right now. Hello, hello, hello.
Hi. Hi.
Hello.
How are
Hello.
you?
Good, good. How are you?
I'm well. I'm well. I'm
Good,
well.
good, good. I am excited to have the two of you on. And so we are going to start off by just introducing yourselves, tell the audience a little bit about yourself. So let's start off with Prophet Charlene.
Okay. Well, of course, I'm Charlene Browning, and I have done like 23 years in the military. I'm retired military. Also, I work for FEMA right now full time. I'm full time at FEMA. Um, I have three beautiful children, two girls and one boy. Charlena is the oldest, and my other daughter, she's 33. Forgive me if I mess up her age because I know she could be like, "Mom." And my son, he's 30. But as far as that, that's all. My main thing is military life. 23 years military, and it was a good career. What'd you say, Ling?
What branch?
It was Army. I'm sorry.
Okay.
It was Army. I was Army. Of course. Who to all the Army people?
I'm about to hear from Vanessa soon. We have a huddle member, Vanessa, who was in the Army. So she about to sound off any minute. Go ahead, Vanessa, sound off.
I know how she feel. I know how she feel because every time somebody says something about military, But yeah, but other than that, and I live with my mom. Me and my mom live together. I take care of my mother. My dad, he died in 2006, and I had a brother. It was just me and him, and he died in 2008. So it's just me, my mom, and my children, and my family, my extended family. That's it.
Amen. All right, Charlena, you are up.
Ah, to go behind that. Uh,
You can do
um,
it. You can do it.
yes. So I'm just sum it all up. I'm a leader. I'm a daughter. I'm a sister. I'm a granddaughter to Winifred Browning. And I'm a niece, a mother of two daughters, and a wife to Mr. Don Wilson Jr., who's out there. And gosh, yeah, I'm pretty much a stay-at-home wife and mother to my children.
All right. Wonderful. And you guys are on the Christina Nelson show. And it is a pleasure to have you. See, there she goes. Hooah. There you go.
Well,
I can't say it like y'all. We have people telling you thank you for all your service. Thank you. Yes,
thank
thank you for
you.
your service. Thank you. All right. And so let's get this started off here. We are here to talk about your testimony as a mother and daughter and your specifically you Prophet Charlene. I was telling everybody before you guys came up how I was 19 myself when I got pregnant with my son, and I don't know if you were in the church at the time, but or you grew up in the church, but I was, and so I know how that is. So can you like kind of take us back to that moment, even upon even like maybe meeting the young man as her father and kind of just how everything kind of went and how you met and then how everything well we know how everything happened. we,
Yeah, we know that.
we know how it happened, but
Yeah,
no need to get
This
that deep,
and that
but
this
you know what I
exactly.
mean.
I understand. I understand. Well, um, I met Charlena's father when I was 12. I was 12 years old, and we both was in high school. Thomas Pudding, at that time was junior high school, and you know, at that time, 12 years old, you just like boyfriend and girlfriend, So, and we, had a history. We went to Largo High School. He went to Largo for a little while, then he ended up going to another school. But make a long story short, as things progressed in our relationship, I ended up getting pregnant.
Mhm.
Um, and it was like, my father, he was the one that was like really not talking to me. Okay, you know how fathers are. Said, your baby's, your baby daughter pregnant, and I like, I don't know what he was thinking, but I know he wasn't talking to me. So, and I told my mom about me being pregnant, and at that time, I remember my mom said, "Well, we don't believe in abortions." And I said, yeah, and I mean, I was 19 years old. I ain't know. I just said, okay, so I'm not gonna have abortion. So I went and told him about it, and of course, he was kind of like, I'm not ready to have a child. I'm not, I'm just not ready. And he was the kind of person like Charlene, real quiet. And in order for you to get anything out of him, you had to really pull stuff out of him. But and I at that time I wasn't pulling nothing. I just say, look, I'm just gonna have a baby and whatever. So
Mhm.
but as our relationship continued to go forward, things wasn't going too good because he wasn't happy because of the decision that I had made. Um and I guess he just wasn't ready. But I was like, whether you're ready or not, she's coming. Oh, well, baby's coming. I didn't know it was she at that time. I said, she's coming. The baby's coming. So I went on and progressed on having her. And then she got here, and even though my father he wasn't speaking to me, he, he was the first one in the hospital, and he wanted to call her Japan, and I said Japan. I said we're not doing that. And of course, her father wanted to name her too. And I didn't really want him to name her, but I gave him that that go to that he can go ahead on and name her. But he the one that gave her Validia Marie, and that was Validia. I don't know where he got Validia from. I couldn't tell you. Marie was from his mom,
Okay.
and, and Charlena was from me because I named her after me. Um, but my name starts with a C, of course. So going back to the relationship, I was in church. I believed in God. At that time, I believe probably a lot of us we believed that there was a God, but we didn't know all the other things that goes behind it because we would go to church, they hoop and holler, that's it. And then go back out, do your thing, party, do your thing, and everything like that. But still, there was still a fear of God in me. And as I continued to go forward. I was in the military also, when I had Charlene. And everywhere I went, she was with me. I was a single mother for a while. And then I told the Lord, I said, well, I'm not getting pregnant again unless I'm married. And my brother was the one that actually told me about, God and things as far as moving forward. Because I was in the room crying because of our relationship, me and her father's relationship. I broke up and I was pregnant. I'm like, what am I going to do? I'm pregnant. Ain't nobody gonna want me. Blah blah blah. You know how we go through as women, thinking that because I done had a child. Or because I'm pregnant, nobody's gonna want me. I'm just gonna be. It's gonna be me and them. And that's how I was feeling. But my brother told me, he looked at the book. I was reading this book, and he said, "You have a gold mine here." And the book was the Bible. I didn't know what I was doing. I was just reading. I was just reading it. And he said, "You got a gold mine." I said, "Gold mine." I'm looking at the book, and I'm like, "Oh." I said, "Well, it's a gold mine. Okay, where's the gold at?" He said, "Charlene, it's in the word." And like that, right? And I said, "Okay." And like I said, I'm 19, didn't know. So he started telling me things about the word of God and telling me about how much God loved me, and don't worry about anybody not wanting you or wanting to have anything to do with you, because God will make a way, if it's for you. And so, and I'm like, in my mind, I'm like, but I love this man, you know, but I couldn't change his mind about nothing. I couldn't change his mind. So I had to continue to move forward with my life and with Charlena. And he moved forward too. He ended up getting married to someone else and moving on with his life. And I'll end up moving on with my life too. I ended up getting married, and then that's where my other two children came in. So I did keep my promise to God that I was
Okay.
gonna keep. Wasn't gonna have no kids unless I was married. But that didn't work out either. That didn't work out either. But like I said, and I continued to stay single. It was like an up and down roller coaster, being single, married, divorced. Then I got married again. Didn't work out.
Okay.
It just didn't work out. It was like I was like, okay, either I'm picking the wrong one, God, or something is on me. And I've learned that too, because you can have something on you that you don't know that's attracting the wrong men. And I found that I had a lot on me that I did not, that was attracting the wrong men. And don't get me wrong, my other children's father, he's okay, he had his issues and stuff like that. And then my second husband, it was a rebound. It was
Mm,
because being married for so long, and then you end up wanting to be with somebody,
yeah.
and that was a rebound, and then that didn't work out. So after that, I just said, "Okay, God, what we gonna do?" And he's never said nothing to me. So I just said to myself, I'm just gonna stay single and deal with Charlene. Just deal with
Okay.
Charlene.
How old was Charlena when you had gotten married the first time?
Let me see. That was in 90. That was in 88. Lena was born in 83.
Oh, okay.
So she was still young.
Yeah.
She was a toddler from what I can remember. She was a toddler.
Oh, okay. Do
And
you remember Charlena, her being married the
Mhm.
first time?
Um, I do. I do remember um, a mom being married the first time. You asking about how old I was?
No, I said, yeah,
yes,
well, she said how old you were, but do you so I
yes.
was gonna say you were young, but did you remember that and her having your brothers and or your siblings?
Yeah, I do, and um, I wasn't too okay with the fact that I'm my oldest sister, and I'm like, where these other two come from? But I eventually loved up on them, and they are both my preciouses.
Oh, wow. That's good. That is very good. So, Prophet Charlene, what kind of things came out of like the after your feeling your first marriage, did you feel like, because I know a lot of people who say after their marriages have been through divorce and everything, they feel like they failed at something. Did you feel like you failed? Because this is what I felt like. I didn't, this is my first marriage, the one that I'm in now. But I always felt like, because I had a baby, then I got with someone else and had another baby. And I felt like I had to be with somebody because I can't just be a single mom. Like I don't want to
Right.
do that. How did you any of those ever cross your mind? Thoughts ever cross your mind?
It did because the my first husband, I met him in the military, and because me and being his father, I mean, he wasn't like being mean to me or anything like that. When he took care of her, when old weekends he would come stay with her father and stuff like that. But I still felt like, somebody should be there, her having a father figure. But Charlene was very smart because she said, do I have to call him dad? And I said, I was like, I said, no, you don't have to call him dad. Whatever it is, and however you felt that you need, you want to address him, you can address him that way. Because I feel like if you start pushing those words onto the children, it's a bad. I think that's bad. In other
Yeah,
words, because that's not their father. She knew who her father was. She wasn't happy about it, but she knew. And sometimes, even now, me per se, when I look back, I should have talked to my daughter first about, because sometimes talking to your kids, they can sense, whether or not if this is going to work. To me, that's my feeling. And because kids know whether or not if this is a good person or a bad person, you
yeah.
know. And I think that anybody that's single right now that has somebody in their household with their child, no, that's a bad move, I mean, because we all want somebody to love, we all want somebody to be there for us, but don't bring them in your house with your children. Just wait and see how long this relationship is going to last.
Absolutely. I definitely agree with that because a lot of times that happens and I never had anybody in the house or per se until much later. My youngest daughter's father, he came to live with us, but even with that, I remember them being a little bit, you could tell they were resentful, the older two, because they were looking like Charlene,
Mm.
pretty much like, do I got to call him dad? Like, what's going on? Like, what's the thing here? And
Mhm.
mom in and out of relationships. And I just wanted stability for them. I thought I was getting stability, but
Right.
I wasn't really giving stability. I was like feeding my flesh and wanting to have somebody to lay up next to and hold me and all that kind of stuff. And yeah, you wanted somebody for the kids and everything, or so I thought. But for the most part, it was also for me.
Right,
So
exactly, exactly, exactly. And you sometimes, with me, I know I regret a lot of things with my children that I did and I shouldn't have done. With Sharina, as far as having my first husband in the house before I was married, and then after we divorced, then I rebound and did the same thing all over again. Matter of fact, and my second daughter, she wasn't having it. She was like, because she was already feeling some kind of way because her father wasn't around. So
right. So you had a situation where Charlena, she saw not just one stepfather, then she saw two, but the
mhm,
other two only saw their father, and then you in another relationship. And I guess that
right,
can make somebody feel some type of way when you're a child, right?
right. It did. It really it affected her a whole lot because he was more out than in.
Okay.
And then when Charlene, when my children was my other two children would see her father, they was like, well, he's coming around. Where's my dad? You know, and it was hard to really explain your father. Okay,
Hmm.
he has issues, so this is why he's not coming around. You don't want to bash him or anything like
Hmm.
that, but eventually, I let them find out on their own.
Exactly my situation was where I would like, one father would come get the kid and then the others didn't, and they were left home. I guess you don't think about that in the while you're doing it, like, right, while you're with the person, you don't think that
Mhm.
this is way it's going to be. You're just like, oh, okay, yeah, I'm in a relationship that where things are going well, but you don't see it ending, and then one father coming to get the kid and the other two are left, or vice versa, and you're just kind of
Right.
like, wow, I didn't take that into consideration. That they
Yes.
would see that, right, and feel some type of way.
Exactly.
Charlena, did you feel um any type of way, or did you feel like, okay, um I'm living with their father, but my father's not here, or
So I felt, I don't know, doing that, it was an awkward position to be in.
mhm,
Um, I feel like it was a lot going on in my realm, as far as, okay, I have two dads, I have uh, two siblings, and I'm the oldest, so I have to pretty much be the leader
mhm.
of the two, make sure they okay, and then um, it was a lot to deal with. So
Yeah.
I felt like I had to grow up fast.
Okay.
Yeah. And I was gonna say something about that too, because her being the oldest, and I did push a lot on her. And I regret that too.
Mm,
So I'm just saying, if anybody out there has an older child, son or daughter, I don't care who it is, please don't give that responsibility to them, because it's not their responsibility. Because when they get older and they want to go out, or they want to leave out the nest, it's like you don't have that support no more. Because I can recall when I told her that this was the last time. I said, Lena, I need you to watch your brother and sister. Mom, why? I'm with my
yeah.
friends. I can't keep doing this. And I was like, light bulb went off, and I said, I got mad for a second, but I walked away, and I had to think about it, and I said, you know what? She's right. She's right.
I get it. Yeah, I get it. Like, kind of putting it on her, and then she's like, "But I'm still a kid," and you're like, "Oh." Technically, I mean, like, she wasn't
Yeah,
a kid, but you know what I mean? It was like,
right.
I'm young and I wanna have
Hmm.
fun, and you got me here watching them, and they're not my.
Right, exactly.
But you
Exactly.
recognized it. You
Yes, I
recognize
did.
it, and that's important that you recognized it, because a lot of mothers do not recognize it, and they leave the older child to watch the younger children because they gotta work,
Right.
or and that's legit. I understand that. You gotta work,
Mhm.
but or you want to go out, and then we don't turn around and say, but they didn't ask for that, right? Like,
Right,
that's not their
exactly.
problem. Like, this shouldn't be their problem, because I'm the one that had them. I'm the one that did it, so I should be responsible for that. And finding babysitters, I don't know about you, but I used to have to say, okay, I, can you just watch the baby, and I'll find somebody else to watch the other two.
No, I can't leave all of us.
He
She
gave
had both
them
of them.
all to me.
Hi,
Oh,
Don. He's
I
standing in the
was
back.
like,
hi, Don.
"Hi, mom. See you later."
Yeah, I did. I did. That's why I said I really regret it, because later on, and later on, she got in her 20s, and she's like, Mom, hey, I want to have fun. I need to go out with my girls. And
Mhm.
I said, okay, you got it. I was like, all right. Walked away with an attitude. It was like, and look, and I know it was nobody but God then too talking to me, saying, why you getting upset? She right. Why you getting upset? But back then it's like, you had it's supposed to be God on one end and devil on the other end. You
Uh-huh.
like, I don't know who this talking to me, but
Yeah, right. Right,
so,
exactly. I know. I remember that part. Charlene, was it hard to tell your mother that? Was it hard to say to your mother, "Look, mom, I want to have fun."
Yeah,
Like, did you
yeah,
contemplate it in your head for a long
yes.
time?
I had well, I knew with all that my mother was going through. So
Mhm.
I was like, I had a strong relationship with the Lord at a young age. um,
Oh, Jesus.
I was like, Lord, just help me, please, with these two, and just and when I say that I had to grow up fast, yes, I felt like I had to grow up fast, and I was just I felt like I was just running the race of, okay, I know we're gonna get there. We gotta keep going. We gotta keep going.
Mhm.
And I'm pulling those two behind me too. And while mom is in the military, she doing her thing. My my grandparents, they were my mother and father. I
Okay.
feel like in that
Yeah.
situation
Okay.
as well.
Mhm.
I
So
get that.
yeah.
I get that because I try to leave, my kids. I wanted to have so much fun all the time. I did because I felt like, and I don't know if you felt this, Prophet Charlene, how you had them young, and then so you never really got to be a young adult. Like
Mhm.
you never got to be a young person and go out like you wanted to because you had kids and you had to worry about their well-being and babysitters and all that kind of stuff, and
Mhm.
so like in a way you wanted to just have fun, and be that young adult. Maybe I had friends who were didn't have kids and
Mhm.
they were all going out and doing their thing and having fun, and I wanted to be just like them and I couldn't.
Exactly. Exactly. You are so right about that. I mean, you do feel that way. Because my mother told me that when I got pregnant, she said, "Look, you had her, so you gonna have to raise her." I was like, but then but when I got she got here, it was like she as soon as I come through the door, they done took her, and I'm like, oh, but I gotta raise her, you know. So it's funny. It was funny then. It was funny now. It wasn't funny then.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
let's transition a little bit to now ministry and the call on your life now. So how did you go from going out and doing things in military and all that to really having and developing your relationship with God? How did that all come about?
Wow, that was a very, I could say the transition was good. Like I said, my brother was the one into he the one brought me to Christ. And then as I continued to know more about, he said, go to Spirit of Faith Christian Center, and I was like, because I was going to at that time I was going to Glen Arden Baptist, and he was telling me go to Spirit of Faith Christian Center. My brother was part of Victory World Outreach at that time. He was a pastor in a music. He was also minister of music. But as I went on and made a decision, because I wanted to put my children into ministry where they was teaching the word. And I got under Pastor Mike Freeman, and I started listening to the word. I mean, he was teaching the word, and I was like, oh, so this is what's supposed to happen. It's
Okay.
supposed to be taught, not yelled at all the time. And
Right. Right, right, right. Yes.
and that's actually how it all really started. It was from Spirit of Faith, and I got my children in there, and they started, knowing about the word and how the word is supposed to be taught, and it really helped me. But even though I still had one foot out, because I had my boyfriends and all them other things, still playing, the fence, ride the fence.
Mhm.
But still, there was something in me because I had a praying mother and I had a praying brother too. They was praying for me. So eventually, I had got my heart broken again. And when I got my heart broken again, that drew me further and further towards Christ. And I went to Pastor Mike, and I was just standing there. The one thing he said to me, he said, "You gotta let the word work." And I'm looking at him like, "Let the word work? What are you talking about?"
Yeah.
So I found out that how to make the word work was listening to it constantly. And I wasn't one to really read the Bible because when I started reading, I would just fall asleep. So he had CDs, and I would just play the CDs in the car over and over and over again, especially when I was all messed up, heartbroken, and all that stuff. and listening
Especially. I'm there
to
with you. I did the same thing. You going through, you gotta be like, now you want to leave, now you want to hear God.
exactly, because I ain't want to hear no Earth, Wind, and Fire. I ain't want to hear no Natalie Cole, Inseparable and all that other
Mhm.
kind. I didn't want to hear that, even though that was good to the soul, but it was hurting my soul.
Right, right.
But I went on and started listening, and my brother got sick, and I wanted to know more about the Word of God. So before he got sick, he said, "Go on into the ministry. Just go to the college." He did Spirit of Faith at college. They had 3 year college, and I went. And as I went, I was just going to know more about the Bible. I didn't want to preach. I didn't want to do nothing, you know. And so as I went in the last year that I was, no, my brother died first. My brother died in 2008, and when he died, that I was like, okay, God, you know what? I ain't doing this no more. He gone. He matter of fact, before he died, he said there was gonna be a ministry called the Agape Love Ministry. And he said that I was gonna be his logistic person, helping him in the ministry and everything. I was so glad and I was really full ready, but it didn't end up that way. My brother died from kidney disease. I was gonna give him one of my kidneys, and
Mm.
what ended up happening, his lungs had gotten it was the craziest thing. It was called fibrosis of the lungs, which the doctors had never seen or heard from about it.
Oh, wow.
And it caused his lungs to now, our lungs go like this, right? When you're breathing, his
Hmm.
go the opposite way. It's going the
Okay.
opposite way. So he had problems breathing. And so they wouldn't do the transplant of the kidney because another organ was not, working properly. So blood clot hit him and he ended up passing away. So I
Mm.
told God, I said, okay, no need of me going in ministry. I'm done. Because he ain't here. And as I was finishing, I went, no, he told me to go back. He said, I need you to finish. And I said, why? Why, God? I said, he gone. He said, just go. And so I said, all right. And I went on back to the ministry and finished my last year. And as I finished my last year in ministry with Spirit of Faith, everybody graduated. And Minister Laura, uh, no, it was another pastor. He was talking about this. A lot of people in here that's supposed to be out in the front of the sanctuary with Minister Laura, and those were pastors, evangelists, teachers, and all this other stuff. And I was saying, I'm just going to be administrator. I'm just sitting back here, I don't want to do nothing. And so as he was talking, God said, "You're supposed to be out there," and I'm looking around, and I said, "Did you hear that?" Talking to the people, my neighbor. And then they was like, "What you talking about, Charlene?" And I said, "You ain't hear nobody talking? Talking about you supposed to be out there." And they was like, "No, I ain't hear nothing." And she said, "Stop talking." So I said, "Okay." So then I heard him, I heard God again. And then I was like, "Oh Lord." I said, "No." So I went to the pastor after class and I told him what God had said to me. And I bust out crying. I just bust out crying, and his name Pastor Henry. That's what it was. And he said it's okay. He said it's okay. We all went through that. And he said, go ahead on out there with Minister Laura. So I went to Minister Laura and I started walking to her. She said, I knew it. I knew it. I knew it. And I was like, no, but no, but no. And so she said, God called you to be an evangelist. And you just go to your car, get yourself together, and you come back and see me. So I was sat in the car and I talked to God. I would cry to him. And then I was telling him, I said, I'm like Moses. I don't really talk that well. And I can't do this. And then he said, no, you're going to be fine. I need you to do this. So that's how my story ended up being as far as me going into the ministry. And then from that point on, I ended up moving around into different ministries. I went from Spirit of Faith. Well, Spirit of Faith, like they licensed me as a minister. And then from there, I went to Rehoboth New Life Church Alliance. That was Apostle Ernest Dawson. And he had ordained me as an elder. And from there, I went to I'm called with a purpose ministry where I am now under Apostle Vicky Johnson and I'm evangelist prophet. So, and this is where I'm basically at right now. So,
Okay. Awesome. That's good. No, I always like to hear people's transitioning, like, or how God came to them. How did they come to know God, like really for themselves, you know?
mhm.
And it's always such a good story. Always, whether it's hard times, whether it's just like a light bulb went off and you said, you know what, let me go ahead and surrender. Charlena, how was that for you? Because I know sometimes for children had were raised and their mom may have not been in a church and all of a sudden like they're like going all the time. How did you feel about that, like growing up? How did that make you feel? Were you
Well,
like, okay, now we going to church?
it's funny you say that. I mean, her mom being in ministry did not really affect me. I guess because I I was brought up with my grandmother taking me to church.
Okay.
Church was in the house, in the basement. My uncle, did his thing. So it didn't really phase me when mom got ordained on so many times. it was it didn't. I was like, okay, here we go, here we grow.
Mhm.
Right.
So
Okay, so it wasn't like
Exactly.
this, like, oh, now we're in church, like now I got to go to church, because you had already seen it, like your
yeah,
grandmother, your uncle already had planted that seed.
yeah,
And so
yeah.
it wasn't
Didn't
this
phase me.
surprise. It was like, okay, all right,
Hmm.
here we go. All right, mom is
Yeah,
in it. Like, let's go. Let's do this, right?
yeah, yeah.
That's wonderful. Prophet Charlene, you sound like you were really close to your brother.
I was. Me and my brother was real close. Like I said, he was the one that actually brought me to Christ because when he got saved, he was on fire. And he was going around telling everybody. I mean, we had Bible studies in the house and everything. And I was there, but I wasn't there.
Yeah.
And like I said, he was a musician. He played the guitar, and he would have his band and everything there. I mean, it was really awesome. But like I said, I knew God, but I had that one foot in and one foot
Yeah,
out.
yeah.
But I said, but he must have been praying hard. I tell you, he was praying hard.
That's
But
wonderful though. We always need that person to pray hard for us, even though we at the time we don't know it.
hmm
But then you see the fruit of their prayers after the fact, like, wow, they really prayed for me, because if it had not been, wow. I mean, God would have got you some other way.
hmm
Like he would have got you still, but he used he used your the prayers of your brother, your mom, to
hmm
really draw you back into his arms. And I'm forever grateful for the people that prayed for me, you know. I
Amen.
had
Yes.
friends that prayed for me. I had, relatives. My sister, I know she was praying for me because she was in church and she was trying to, go to and praying for me, bring me with her to church and everything. And
hmm
I was going to church before my mom was like really going to church. I was that kid. I was a little
Okay.
like opposite. Like my family didn't force me to go to church. I was just like, oh, I'm going to church. Like a teenager in church and loving it. It's just my thing came when I started getting interested in boys.
I
them
understand.
boys, them boys drew me away quickly. And then you
Yes,
get hurt, and then you go back in the church,
right.
and then
Exactly. And
there'll be another boy, and I'll come out, and then you hurt me, and I'll come back in, and
yeah, there you go. Back and forth, back and forth. But
back
that's
and
what
forth.
it's good though that God can draw you back to Him. No matter what you're going through, no matter what type of sins you're in, it's always good to know that you can be able to be drawn back to Him. Another thing that kept me because when Lena got MS, that really floored me because I was like, where did this come from?
Mm,
And And when she had told me that when she woke up one day, she said, "Mom, my leg is numb," and I'm like, "What?" And so immediately that's when we started going to the doctor to find out what's going. So that kind of kept me in prayer too, even though I still was doing my thing. But God was still faithful. He was still faithful. He was still faithful because I was praying for her and then thinking that, my other two children, I was thinking, I was like, well, if she get it, because you know how the doctors always saying, well, it's inherited. You can somebody gave it to you from your uncle or aunt or whatever. But we did find out later on that my mom's older sister, she had it,
Oh, wow.
but we didn't even know until she was basically on her deathbed,
Oh my gosh. Mm.
and found out that she had MS. And like I said, back then we didn't know nothing about MS
Yeah,
and
yeah, of
stuff.
course. Right. And I was gonna say you probably didn't know too much about it, right?
Right, exactly. But to see her going through the treatments that she went through, that really
Mm,
took a toll on me because
mm.
and I really didn't like I don't like doctors that well anyway because some of them don't have good bedside manners,
Yeah.
and she's a teenager with this, and going just talk any kind of way. But I can say that her faith really was strong because we ended up seeing a Chinese doctor in Virginia, and he had told her that he said he couldn't help her. She said, "No, you gonna help me." And when she told him that, and I looked at her, and then the guy, and then the Chinese doctor said, "Your faith is what's going to help you,
Oh
and I'm
wow.
going to help you." And he said, "Because of your faith." And Chinese people, they're really into strong faith.
Yeah.
It comes down to the faith and stuff. And that really showed me something, Alina, that she's always was listening. You know, she was always listening. Be surprised with your children, but when you tell them, "Are you listening to me?" No, no, but they were listening to you.
Yeah.
They
Yeah.
were listening.
Absolutely.
So.
Absolutely. She definitely was. Lena, tell me some of the things that you learned by watching your mother. Because we all like and I always ask my kids too because sometimes things will happen and my daughter will be like I saw you do that all my life, so this is why I do it now, so what things did you learn from your mom?
My mom is, I guess her strength to pull through all that she had gone through in the past. Just to see that she made it out and her life got reset over and over and over again. So I was like, you know what? I want to be her.
Oh.
Oh,
Oh,
I-
Yeah,
how does
yeah.
that make you feel to hear your daughter say that?
it makes me feel very proud. It makes me proud.
Hmm.
Because like I said, sometimes you don't know what your children are thinking, you know. But when they come out the blue and they say stuff like that, or they say, "I really appreciate you," for I know I'm not being a really good kid right now, or I have been a good kid, but I really appreciate it. It makes me feel proud that I at least did what I was supposed to do. Because sometimes I thought I was like, I said, "Lord, I don't know what's gonna happen to my children because I'm not doing this very well." Blaming myself on, for different things that has happened. Having failed marriages and being a single mom. So, but that makes me feel proud.
I like that because I've done that to myself too, and blame myself and like, Lord, I don't know how these kids are going to turn out. But praise God, they turned out pretty good, if I do say so myself. And it was all the grace of God. It was all, him pouring his strength into me and him, guiding me. And even when I
Mhm.
was stepping out and doing my thing, he was still, like you said, he still loved me. He still cared for me. He still knew how to draw me back in. And I just I love him for that. I just praise God for that. And thank God that, his grace and his mercy was there for me.
Yes, yes,
Oh my
yes.
gosh, thank God. Yeah. So,
And,
tell me, Prophet Shirley, what have you learned from watching Lena? Because we can learn
oh,
stuff from our kids too, like.
yeah. that's why I say her. She has strong faith because I know I was trying to treat her like, you know that them commercials with the people in the wheelchair and everything. They saying, you know, ask me if I need help, just don't do it for me.
Mhm.
And I kept trying to baby her, you know, try to, you know, be there for her. And she was like, Mom, do it. Let me do it, you know. And I'm like, you know what, you're right. But that was because of me feeling sorry, you know, that this happened. And
Yeah.
I couldn't control it. You know how as mothers we wish we could control
Of
everything when
course.
it comes down to them, you know, and but I've learned from her that she is a very strong woman. Her faith is beyond measure. Uh, you know, and where she is now to see where she was is remarkable how God is has really transitioned her. You know, daily I pray for her, you know, for healing to manifest to a point where she's able to do everything like she used to. But
Mhm.
sometimes God will put you in a spot where no, just you know, it's like a he puts like Jacob with the thorn in his side.
Yeah.
You know, it's like no, let me just you know let me do this because
Mhm.
this is something to learn from. In other
Mhm.
words, and I mean, he has really, he has gracefully made her the woman that she is now.
I like
I'm
that
just,
gracefully. Yeah.
yeah,
Mhm.
I am just so fond of her. Every time I see her, I'm like, girl, you looking like a diva. You know, because some people allow sickness to overtake them to a point where they don't want to do anything, but not her. And at first, I thought that was going to happen, but no, she was like, no, I should live and not die
That's right.
and declare the works for the Lord. And that's what she's doing. And I'm glad that God has, He just gracefully brought her to where she
Yeah.
is now.
Yeah, Lena do be looking like a diva, come on with her little hats and everything. I'm like, "Oh,
I be
okay."
trying. I be
I love it. Looking all cute and everything. I like that shirt tonight, I'm about to tell you. I like that.
thank you.
I'm
Very cute.
telling
Both of
you.
y'all looking good. I love it. I love
Oh,
it.
thank you.
I get it from her.
Yeah, see? You have to. I see it. I love that. I
And of
see it.
course, I get it from my mother and all
Mhm.
them. You know how we do back then in the day. You know, you get it
Right.
from my parents.
Yeah, exactly,
Yeah.
exactly. That's what
Hmm.
my daughters will say, and I say I always joke around like I thought like they would think like, "Oh, you're too old to be looking like that and everything," and uh, like having this and that, and then they
Right.
be in my closet, uh,
Exactly.
looking at getting my clothes. I see my daughter all the time. My oldest daughter come in, and I'll play around with her. She'll come in and I say, "Oh, I like that shirt because it's
I'm
mine."
telling you.
That's nice.
Yeah.
You look nice. You look really nice.
Yeah, we used to do that back in the day between her and my other daughter, Tamika. Oh my gosh.
Mhm.
Wow.
We used to. I said we used to. I know. Mommy
Mhm.
to put on a few pounds, but that's okay.
It happens. It happens. Charlene, do you have a relationship with your father now?
I do. I do. I actually I've always had a relationship with my dad.
Okay.
And yeah, I love my dad. He's always been there when I needed him. Not
Okay.
when well, not necessarily when I I wanted him to be there, but he's always there when I needed him. And to this day, actually, he has a show tomorrow. But but to this day, he has always he calls me up, make sure I'm good, all good.
Mhm.
Um he he's he got my vehicle when I needed it. You know, past the whole past time uh struggles that we had.
Okay.
Yeah, yeah, he's
Okay.
always been there.
Good.
Yeah.
That's good. That's good. And Prophet Charlene, how is the relationship with you and her father. And I know it's always different when they're grown compared to when they were younger. Like I can
Hmm.
honestly just talk to them now and just be like, oh hey, and it's not good. It's all good. I'm not holding no resent and trying to be like sarcastic like I could have been
Yeah.
when they were younger. Like, when they're younger, you like,
Hmm.
oh, you coming to get a net? Like,
Exactly. Exactly.
now that they're grown, it's like you don't have to really talk to them. But if you had to, is the relationship like, oh, okay,
Yeah, me and her father pretty cool. He like her birthday, he came over and stuff like that. And that's it. And same thing with my other children. Father, I
mhm,
really like, when it comes out them, hey, that's it. That's it. I don't want
yeah.
nothing else, So, but
Once they hit a
yeah,
certain age, you were like, that it's up to y'all now.
exactly, because I ain't got nothing to do with it no more. So,
You ain't gotta pick them up. You ain't got to get my permission. You ain't got to tell me when you. It's all y'all now.
exactly, exactly,
Well, that was
exactly.
amazing. I want to thank you too for being on tonight's show. You gave a lot of good insight and a lot of good information, and it was just nice to be able to hear the transition and how God brought you through all of those situations and being honest with each other, not and with everybody, because a lot of when mothers and daughters may not come up and be honest with, like you said, Charlene, is saying, look, I want to have fun. And you're like, oh, okay, you know what? Yeah, she is still a young girl. And,
Mm-hmm.
and you commit to what you've done and she can admit to, and it's nice to have that honesty and openness. So I want to thank you ladies for being on and saying yes to the Christina Nelson show.
Oh, thank you for having me, and I hope I was able to help anybody out there that's maybe
Hmm.
going through being a single parent. You can do this.
Yes.
You can do it. Just lean on God. Just lean on God. I know it's not going to be easy, but just continue to press forward and
Hmm.
lean on God, and don't let go of His unchanging hand.
Hmm. Hold to his hand. Now you got me. Now it's in my head. That song. That song is in my head. Hold to his hand.
I know, right? That's what I got old one. That's the old one.
That's an oldie, but that's a goodie right there.
I know, right?
Yeah. Yeah. You're welcome.
Amen.
Thank you. Anything else that you want to say to any audience, to just there was a good show, Don? Okay, good.
I just want to
uh
thank everyone for coming on. Though I think all my friends, Sheila. I think I seen Sheila name come for coming on, and anybody else that I made a miss. I thank you all for coming on and being able to hear our story. Hopefully, I bring the other two on, and we have all three.
oh gosh, yeah, why not? Is it all girls or is it just
It's two girls and a boy. My son, I have
oh
a
good
son.
boy.
Yeah, I
Okay,
have a
okay.
boy.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
did. My son is my oldest, and then I had the
yeah,
two girls. Okay.
yeah. He's the
Oh,
youngest.
so
Yeah.
Flip.
Yeah, Flip. Yeah, yeah. He's the youngest and he's the only boy. So wow.
Hmm. Yeah. So,
yeah,
Wonderful. Thank you once again, ladies. Thank you for sharing. Everybody saying thank you for sharing, and that's good. We had your army friend here. She says thank you
oh.
both for sharing. Sheila says hearts, and uh, Marla has the thumbs up, and yep, here we go. My husband said great show.
yeah,
So
Thanks.
yeah.
it
Thank
was a
you.
great show. Thank you so much. Hey everyone, thank you for watching. I appreciate you. Don't forget to like and share the Christina Nelson Show. Help build my YouTube channel up. Go on YouTube and subscribe to my YouTube channel. That would help a lot. And on Facebook, like it. And we appreciate it. Share this broadcast when you're finished. Share it. Somebody that needs to hear it and encourage them. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. Thank you once again, ladies. God bless you, everyone, and have a wonderful, awesome, amazing night. God bless.
Thank you. God bless you too. All right. Have a good